Wi-Fi. Enhance Wi-Fi. That is right there. That right there. I don't know if I'm on this here live. Every time I try to get on here, it don't be working. At the beginning here, I'm trying to connect. And I had a coaching call and forgot I had a coaching call, but had scheduled a coaching call. And fortunately, I was able to get off on here just in time and see that. And wanted to get back on here just because I'm in the hotel room in New York City and got a VIP dinner tonight at 7:30 and it's 5:30, so I'm gonna leave here in about an hour, so I'll be on here about 30:45, so I can go down there and catch my old Uber and get on over to the spot. Do not like New York City, but I wanted to come on here because I was, as to finish what I was talking about earlier, but I had to go. And this is something what you got to realize is the space that we going in. What I noticed, and this is the thing, because me being a man, I'm always very hard on men. And I'm always hard on men about this, the standard of being a man and what it takes to be a real man. And there are times to where I also have to address women because of our relation of male to female, female to male, and both sides have to be addressed. And what I noticed, what I have found, is that men actually handle correction better than women. And there was a lady who she wrote in the comments about saying that I shouldn't question a black woman's credentials. Like, I can't question a black woman. Now, for one, I didn't question her credentials. I made a point that there are people who have doctor before their name, and I'm specifically thinking about two black males that I know. One is Dr. Farrah Gray, and one is Dr. Delatoro McNeil. Those are two black males that I've talked to personally who have a honorary doctorate. So that's no different than Dr. Dre. And that's the point that I was making. But the fact that somebody, a black woman, will open her mouth and say, don't question a black woman, that speaks to the problems of saying, oh, one group is exempt and that a black woman can't be questioned or a black woman can't be held accountable. And we want praise for doing the bare minimum, or we want praise for being pleasing in the sight of man. But then a lot of women want to bash men and go hard on a man, but then when you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and what I found with my last message is that I seen some women in the comments who was upset about me talking about the young lady attire, the doctor's attire, and that was I seen two ladies, and guess what? Just from their profile picture, I could tell that they was Jezebel spirits. That's how men read women. One woman had on a bikini top. It's like, why would you have on a bikini top for your YouTube profile photo? The other lady had on like a bunch of colored hair, curly, wavy, colored hair. face full of makeup and all the little done up eyebrows. And they was mad that I was talking about the outfit that the doctor had on the interview with Cam Newton. And it's because that assessment stepped on their toes because they dressed the same way. And I'm here to tell you, and just speaking, and I'm gonna speak from a male perspective, is a man is going 50% in a relationship. A man has to choose a wife. If you read the Bible, it says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. So if a man is going to be looking for a wife, he's going to be looking for a good thing, to receive favor from the Lord. So how a woman dresses also matters to a man. And the same way a man has to understand perception, a woman has to understand perception. So it's no different than a woman saying, hey, I can't listen to a man who sag his pants. And that's the same thing. It's like if a man comes and he's sagging his pants and he trying to give you advice, or he giving advice about being a real man, and he's sagging his pants, or he got a mouthful of gold teeth, and he talking about climbing the corporate ladder, you're gonna look at him crazy. So the same thing is how women present themselves. It's so many times in coaching that I've been coaching a woman, and the woman will say to me that she's a good catch. And it's so many women that call themselves a good catch, but they dress like a woman who is a prostitute or an escort or a stripper, or a woman who gives her body away to many, many men, and they dress that way. And so, yes, your heart could be amazing and you could be an amazing person, but the fact still remains that people look at us and they make a judgment call based on how we present ourselves. It just point blank period. And we can't really get around that. Like, we can't get to a place to where we able to say, you know, okay, this doesn't matter. And because people hear us based on how they perceive us. And I see this all the time, to where I will be coaching women who have not taken themselves seriously and slept with 1,000,000 men, and they'll say, I'm a good catch, I'm a good catch. The difference about men is we know when we trash. So if we slept around, we'll say, man, I ain't worth nothing. Man, I'm terrible. Like, I done been out here just doing my thing, living my life. For the most part, most men will own up to their stuff. It's kind of like, even with the NFL player Cam Newton, he could be pretending he have one baby mom. He could be pretending that's his business. We don't have to know his business if he didn't tell us. There's a lot of people on his level that got all kind of debauchery going on that the general public does not know. There's people that the general public idolizes and puts on a pedestal that I personally know they business because of working in the industry, and the public does not know. So it's one thing when somebody is doing wrong and they own up to their stuff and they own up to how they showing up and they own up to what they representing. And it's another thing when we show up in the world and we're portraying ourselves a certain way, but we want to be perceived differently and we want to be treated differently. And I never forgot when I saw a woman who would be considered loose. She was like a loose booty. And what I started to notice is that a lot of women who are loose and like give their body away to several men, a lot of those women want a man with a lot of money. And they will climb the corporate ladder to appear more valuable, to get a athlete or to get a rich man. And their goal is to sit down. So that's when I stopped like assuming as a man that just because a woman is a RN, or just because a woman is a doctor, or just because a woman is a lawyer, that she's a good woman. Because I started to see that spirit in a lot of Jezebel women had them pursuing and chasing man-made credentials and man-made accolades so that they can become like a Trojan horse, so that they could sneak in and slip in behind closed doors and they could finesse a man. And that's one of the things where there will be women who are virgins and women who are very conservative, and they may settle at, they may get comfortable and say, I'm good at $50K a year. And they may be a school teacher and say, I'm good because I'm doing what I love, I'm living my purpose. But what a lot of people don't realize is when somebody trying to hide, when somebody trying to get over, when somebody trying to finesse, that's when we feel the need to get certain accolades. Like that's when we feel the need, like I'm only qualified by God. You know, a lady was like, well, Tony, what make you qualified to be a life and relationship coach? That's why I say I'm not qualified. That's why I don't put expert in my bio. That's why I tell people when I get on the phone and you hear me say on my videos, don't thank me for doing something in your life. If your life changed, give God the glory, because it's not about me. It's not about my qualifications. It's not about, yes, I'm married. And that does qualify someone to give advice based on something they have done. It's kind of like if you've worked in HR for 20 years, you're qualified to give HR insight. But if you worked in HR, and let's say HR has nothing to do with the quality assurance department or the accounting department or the logistics department or the computer software department, then nobody will want to hear what you have to say about the company's cybersecurity firewalls if you have specialized in HR, in just hiring and firing. But you are qualified to speak on what you have lived. And so that speaks for itself. And that's the thing, is like we have to take in, look ourselves in the mirror, and we got to be able to get what's for us. And we got to realize that in order for our society to go forward, it can't just be men bashing women, women bashing men, but the conversation got to go both ways. The conversation got to be accountability. The conversation got to be men talking to men, women talking to women, and then us crossing the aisle and us giving perspective into the mindset of our gender for the other gender. And that's what it got to be. But it was crazy to me, and that's the thing. And see, it just depends on who you work for. So it's like, if I work for the devil, then when I get backlash and I get cussed out and all of that and talked bad about by black women, I could go to the red pill. But because I work for God, that let me know, stay right there. Stay right there. You striking a chord. When what God give me offends somebody demons, that's when I go harder. So soon as them demons get offended, that's when I got to go boom right there. And if I'm talking to men, if I'm talking to women, then that's where I got to hold that accountability. And Kenneth, I don't coach women. I serve people. So I coach men and women. And I can't train my wife. God is the one who gives gift, and not everybody is called to coach, not everybody called to teach. So you have to understand that and realize that when God calls you, it's no different than a pastor being handsome or being well spoken. When God calls you to something, he gives you what you need. And what you have to understand about what God does is God gave man dominion over earth. And God gave man. So when you really think about it, in the Bible, there was a group of people that were being talked to. And to that group of people, the the prophet was saying women should not speak. Now this is in the Bible now. And it was regional because they was talking to a group of people. And into that, the letters to those people say they had a lot of women who was speaking out of place. And they had a lot of women who was saying stuff, and God instructed them, hey, a lot of these women are being deceived. A lot of these women are being led astray. A lot of these women are talking to men who has given them false doctrine, and they're spreading the doctrine of demons. And so that group was instructed for the women to sit down and continue being developed in the faith. Now, if you listen and you look at our world today, who do women say they want to hear about men from? Do women say they want to learn from a woman about men? Or do women say they want to learn from a man about men? And will understand the mindset of a man better than a woman will. Now, my audio went out. Y'all got to forgive me. Somebody was calling me. Did it come back now? Did it come back? Okay. I think that was a wine call. I got it on Do Not Disturb. And let's see if I can get on the computer over there and see if it'll go through over there. And then who do people, men and women, who do people believe is best to raise a boy into a man? When you talk to mothers and fathers, what's the consensus on raising a boy into a man? Do people say a man will be better fit to raise a boy into a man? Or do people say a woman will be better fit to raise a boy into a man? And then what is the term? Have you ever heard the term daddy's little boy? No. But what's the term that you hear? Daddy's little girl. So God has given man a role and a position in the world where a man is supposed to submit unto God and be led by God. And then a man is supposed to be the leader that a woman and a child can respect and look up to. And that is why when a man talks to a man, he receives it differently than when a woman talks to a man. That is why when a man talks to a boy, he receives it differently than when a woman talks to a boy. When a man talks to a girl, she receives it differently than when a woman talks to a girl. That is because of the dominion and the authority and the priesthood that God has bestowed upon men. And so you have to realize and understand that when somebody is walking with the Lord and they hearing from the Lord, everything about them is going to resemble that and represent that. And there's going to be a confidence, there's going to be a wisdom, there's going to be an authority, and there's going to be a qualification from the Most High. Somebody wrote the quote, author unknown, I don't know who wrote the quote, that says, God doesn't call the qualified, God qualifies the called. And that's what you have to realize. And that's why children of God, like myself and others who are children of God and serving God in spirit and in truth and living a life of righteousness, are able to be used by God without man's credentials. Because there's going to come a time where the message has to be given right down the aisle to men and to women. And we don't know the messengers. We don't know who God is going to use. But one thing I can tell you is he's going to use the obedient, and he's going to use the willing, and he's going to use those who live a righteous lifestyle. And it is shocking to me when I hold men accountable every day, and there are a million women singing praises. Yeah, hold them accountable, hold them accountable. And then when I hold women accountable, it is a million women with their toes stepped on and they hurt. But at the same time now, women do not listen to women on average. Now, there are certain women that women listen to. Typically, it's a woman that women think is beautiful. And then typically, there are women who there's women who women feel like, I noticed the women who look like they could beat another woman up, those women end up with an audience. Like the women that's tough, like a alpha woman, so to speak, they end up with an audience. They end up with a big following. Sometimes their voice even stronger or deeper. And then there's the women who it's like women envy. Those women can sell out arenas or could do whatever. But on average, when you talk to a woman will tell you, I don't have a lot of girlfriends because I don't trust women. I'd rather hang around men. If I had $1 every time I heard that, I'd ride off into the sunset. But why is that? And that's what you have to realize and understand. You got to think about it. And so that age, and Simone, that's you don't agree with my opinion of her outfit. But again, you are a woman. So you may not agree because you're a woman. So, but as a man, I'm gonna look at it differently. But there is a million women that wrote on the videos that said they didn't like that outfit either, and they didn't feel that outfit was appropriate to go in front of a man that you trying to have a conversation with to have all your breasts out. There's a million women said that. And so you have to, you know, hear the truth when the truth spoken. And you right about that, Christian, that men can't tell women how to dress, in the sense of, that's why I say you choose the woman that's for you. But in something like what I'm doing, where I'm giving an analysis, where we evaluating how a message is given and how a message is received, all of that matters. It's just like right now, if I have Muslims on here and I have Christians on here, and if I was lacing my language with cursing, I would offend a lot of those religious people, those people of faith, those Muslims, those Christians, or whoever, whatever religion that doesn't believe in profanity, that doesn't believe we should use profanity. So my message would be affected by the delivery. It's just like right now, like I got this black shirt on, but imagine I was sitting on here and I'm having a conversation and I open those blinds and I let the sunlight hit me and I zip down this shirt and imagine if I had an 8-pack of abs and I'm sitting there and I just got the camera up and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sitting here showing abs and showing chest and I'm just doing all this right here, but I'm calling myself giving a message. How would the message be received if while I'm talking, I'm also thirst trapping? And that just is what it is. And so that's what we have to realize and understand, is we have to understand that in this day and age, men gonna be held accountable, women gonna be held accountable, and the only way for us to go forward is when we come to a place where we can say, you know what? Is this for me? Can I grow from this? And if I can grow from this, then I need to hear it and accept it and move forward. But what happens is a lot of times the truth steps on our toes, and when the truth steps on our toes and we get hurt, we get offended instead of getting help. And that's the thing. So for me, I'm going into a space, and if you didn't realize it, is I'm going into a space where names getting called, where I got to call names, because I'm noticing that the general public does not have discernment. And when the general public does not have discernment, we will take and put things in one position. We'll lump everybody else in. We'll lump everybody else in. Then that's when we can't discern the real from the fake. And Kenneth, the thing about it is, women cannot instruct women on the ways of a man. So that's what you misunderstanding about this channel. This channel is about a male perspective. A woman can instruct a woman about how to wash her body, how to cleanse. Y'all forgive me. Am I back now? I don't know if because it's showing me. Oh, I'm back. Man, look at that. All right, YouTube out there in Palo Alto, coding the mess out this thing, boy. Oh, YouTube. Let's give a round of applause for Palo Alto. Out there code. Man, y'all bring him out there to the YouTube studio. I had a phone call because I had a ride booked for my son, and the driver was on the way because I'm out of town, and I normally drive my oldest son to practice, and my wife take our youngest son, but I'm out of town. And so she was calling me to cancel the driver, and she hadn't called me, and it didn't go through because I got on Do Not Disturb, but then it went through. So that's why it was breaking up. Is my Wi-Fi acting up now? Yeah, see, that's my Wi-Fi there. That's old good Wi-Fi. Good old Wi-Fi. This hotel Wi-Fi, and one of my clients that do fraud told me that the hotel is the best way to do fraud on the hotel Wi-Fi. So I try to be careful on here. But what I was saying is, if y'all ain't noticed, is that I'm going into a space of calling names, because our world is going to a place to where men and women being turned over to a reprobate mind. And I used to be of the mindset that women were like superior, basically, in a lot of ways. Like, I was of this mindset to where I was kind of like, man, women are, I was like, women are smarter, women are like stronger, women are more emotionally intelligent. But now what I realize is that what the devil does is he works in seasons. And so I was taking and had this, putting women on a pedestal because I was a low-life man. And because I was a dog, I had never been hurt, so to speak, by a woman. Like, I was always of the advantage. I was always the one doing the lying, doing the cheating, doing the dirt. But then when I came out of that and I got married, and I was out the way, and I'm able to stand on the sidelines and look at the scene and address the scene, I started to see that there's just as many demonic women as there are men, and that there's just as many delusional women as there are delusional men, and it's just as many crooked and lying women as there are men. And so that's when the Lord started to convict me and tell me, like, hey, you got to call a spade a spade. Like, you got to tell it like it is. Like, there were men and women in the Bible who were held accountable for their ways. The adulterous woman was brought down to be held accountable, just like the man who was a criminal or a thief or whatever it may be. And I started to realize that. So what you have to understand, especially on this channel, I'm gonna just call it like I see it. And that don't matter to me if I'm speaking the truth about Donald Trump, or if I'm speaking the truth about Kamala Harris, if I'm speaking the truth about a black man, or if I'm speaking the truth about a black woman. Like, we got to be able to assess the situation, and we got to be able to see where we all got to grow at. And the same thing is like my recent videos where I had to call out some of these pastors that's, divorcing their wives and going and marrying money. They marrying for money and fame. They're not marrying for love, because they could have married any old woman for love. They ain't marrying for attraction, because it's a million women that would be viewed as more attractive. They marrying for money. So just like I had to call out pastors, and I have to call myself out. Every single day, I'm stepping on my toes. Every day I'm stepping on my own toes. And I'm looking myself in the mirror, and I'm holding myself accountable. And so That's what I have to do because that's the only way we grow. So you got to get it together. And that's another thing too. I'll be having these comments on. Y'all can't even hit a message because y'all be reading comments. That's why I had some people. That's why I had some people on that video I was doing that had missed the whole message because they were reading the comments while I was talking. And so they were putting words in my mouth. The sun's starting to kick in. But hey, just wanted to pop in real quick and just finish that up. I gotta get ready to go here soon from a VIP dinner tonight in New York. And want to finish that up. Now tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, you'll see an announcement go up, opportunity. It's a big deal to me, blessing, big give back or I would say give back and opportunity, and can't speak too much on it in advance because it's information that goes with it that you'll see the link in my description that takes you to where the information is. But that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. I have meetings tomorrow as I'm looking at venues and stuff up here in New York. So I may not do events up here for another year, like a year out or so at least, maybe 9 months from now. But you know, just getting a head start and making some acquaintances. And I got some people up here from the Asian community, and they have a different, you know, viewpoint, demographic, and experiences. So kind of what I'm doing is making some alignments with other cultures too, to network and start to reach, you know, different rooms, different people. Because sometimes your own people get in their feelings when God give you a message for us. Sometimes we'll get in our feelings. And so, but the message got to spread across the globe, all four corners. And so every now and then I have to pop out and do those little things. But stay tuned. My mailing list is not a real mailing list in the sense of I don't have a mailing list, an email list for people who go to TonyGaskins.com, like my main website. My mailing list is for people who have signed up for a course on TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, because I prefer to work with people who are bettering themselves and have a desire to better themselves, not just people who being nosy. So I don't have like an open mailing list. So the only way you get my email updates is if you have signed up for even one of the free courses on TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. So that's why I send my updates at, so when I'm doing something live. But I'm hoping to do more live experiences. Right now, the live experience, the next one is October 12th and 13th for counselors and therapists and psychiatrists and psychotherapists who want to build a personal brand so that you can reach more people, use your gift on another level as a coach, as well as what you do in the therapy world. So that's going to be in Florida, Tampa, Florida area, and October 12th and 13th. Only going to work with about 20 people at the max, and as little as 4 or 5 people, just depending on the scheduling and the timing, because we are in a recession and not everybody's able to get off work. Not everybody's able to afford personal or self-investment and things like that right now. So, but I'm doing those just because that's going to be deep dive stuff, and I'm going to be on the whiteboard, and we're going to be visiting different websites and really mapping out a plan. I'm going to give you a notepad and a pen. You can take notes and just really map out a plan. And then for the mental health professionals that come out, which also if you're a life coach and you're just getting started, or you want to expand and build, life coaches can come as well. But I'm also going to create a small group, a little cohort where we can be on a chat together for, a few months. And you also will get a one-on-one session, I believe that's included within 6 months of the event. So that's for individuals in that mental health space that's trying to build and expand. To be honest with you, is we need more representation. We need more people who are willing to not only help and teach, but live it and be an example of what they're trying to teach. Because as you know, we live in a world, a very hypocritical world, where we have a lot of, it's October 12th and 13th, we have a lot of people who, we got broke financial advisors, we got out of shape trainers, we got, single marriage coaches, and all of these different things where people are giving advice but not implementing it and making it work for themselves. So we need more representation. Not to say, and people get mad about that, but we just need more people in their lane, in their category, what they are specialized in, to expand their message and reach more people and be more of a blessing. And being able to identify that message. So sometimes it's like, I meet a lot of people, a lot of single people, and they got a passion for relationships. And I'm like, well, the biggest relationship is your relationship with yourself. So instead of getting boxed in to working with men and women in their business, in their relationship, focus on helping singles have a better relationship with themselves the way you have a relationship with yourself, and you understand the struggles and the pitfalls of being single and trying to love yourself in preparation for love. So focus there instead of meddling and being nosy and getting in a business that you don't really understand and having to go through that criticism and go through that alienation and people looking at you like a fish out of water. Just go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated, and understand that. So that's what I'm focusing on. It's helping people identify their message, package that message, and then share it with the masses. But hey, it's Tony Gasson. God bless you. Let me see here now what I got. Yeah, that's the thing. Got broke financial advisor. We'll talk soon. I might get back on here later tonight, depending on what time I'm up. But tomorrow, a big day for the meetings and with the announcement. So make sure you mark your calendar. If you're on here today, mark your calendar for tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's 12 in Central time, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific time, California now. And see that announcement I make tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. God bless you. We'll talk.